Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Friday evening.
As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Diana Master.
And I am Glenda Shipura. Getting into the news tonight, Juanito van Vuuren, age 20, and Moses Sam, age 20, who stand accused of the murder of Vernon John Gavin, age 51, were denied bail after making their first appearance in the Walvis Bay Magistrates Court on Tuesday. The duo, who also stand accused of rape and theft, appeared before Magistrate John Sindano, who postponed the case to the 2nd of April for further investigations. Sindano informed the accused of their rights to obtain legal representation. Vuuren and Sam indicated that they understood and elected private representation. Meanwhile, the state prosecutor Victoria Shikesho opposed bail due to the seriousness of the offense and to allow time for further investigation. According to a police report, Gavin, who was staying alone at a house in Banker Street close to Walvis Bay's fairways, was allegedly attacked by someone he had been socializing with. His body was discovered in the bedroom by his neighbors, who jumped over the wall to investigate what happened after several calls to him went unanswered. His legs were tied up with curtain robes and his mouth was stuffed with a face cloth. The head of community affairs in the Erongo region, Inspector Eleni Shapumba, confirmed the incident, which occurred between 3 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. on Saturday. Shapumba said no evidence of physical harm was observed on the body of the deceased. The items belonging to the deceased were found in his Opel pickup that was parked in the locked garage. Police investigations also established that the deceased was likely raped before the suspected acts of murder.
That is a horrific and gruesome story. Getting into the next of our top stories, the yards of houses at Oshakati's Ehenge and Ekuku continue to be flooded during the rainy season, a problem that commenced over 7 years ago when the houses were constructed. For years, residents of these areas continue to be challenged during the rainy season when their homes are flooded with storm water. This is despite efforts by the council over the years to construct stormwater channels to mitigate the problem, but the problem remains. With the rainy season currently in full swing, homeowners in these two areas continue to call upon the local authority to address the issue. At the moment, the residents spend up to 1,300 Namibian dollars to buy 10 cubic of gravel, which they use to fill their yards to address the challenge. This has been the temporary solution for them for years. A resident from Ehenge, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said since she moved into her house in 2017, every rainy season, she has had to spend money to buy gravel and fill her yard with it. The source further said that some homeowners have opted to rent out their houses for them to go and rent houses in other parts of the town where it does not flood. Last year, Namibian Sun reported that the Oshakati Town Council issued a plea to the government to revive the town's flood mitigation project, which came to an abrupt stop years ago. At the time, Oshakati's Chief Executive Officer, Timotheus Namwandi, urged Oshana Governor Elia Irimari to remind the government that the idle project could help address the annual flood problem. The mitigation project died a natural death. But Governor, please help us get this message across. We have not been receiving favorable feedback from finance. The project needs to be revived so that it can be completed to avoid the security of flood water in our town, Namwandi told Irimari during a stakeholders meeting last year.
This is definitely a concerning issue, and the fact that it has been going on for years and we still don't have, proper solutions for it.
I mean, you would understand the frustration because in my house, I'm supposed to feel safe. But every year during a rainy season, I have to fear for my life and I have to spend all this other money that I possibly don't even have to make sure that the flooding doesn't affect me.
And your family and whoever else yet. So I really hope that it does get resolved. Moving on, in our Story of the Day segment, there have been more crashes and fewer fatalities during the festive period. We expand on this story after the break. Getting into our story of the day, statistics provided by the Namibian police show that the just ended festive period recorded more motor vehicle accident crashes compared to the same period last year. However, the number of fatalities has decreased by 14%. The statistics are for the period of the 17th of November and the 1st of January. For the period of the 17th of November 2022 and the 1st of January 2023, the police recorded 382 crashes, 711 injuries, and 66 fatalities, while the period, the 17th of November 2023 and the 1st of January 2024, recorded 403 crashes, 724 injuries, and 57 fatalities. The latest road traffic crashes statistics reveal that there is a 14% decrease in fatalities. Whilst this may be a positive development, the overall road safety scenario remains a concern, as crashes have increased by 5% and injuries by 2% during the period reviewed, said Head of Traffic Law Enforcement Deputy Commissioner Petro Swartz. Drive Safe, the primary concern lies in the attitude and behavior of drivers, with instances of unsafe overtaking and inadequate following distances being prevalent. He further said, "We urge all road users to prioritize safety and adhere to traffic rules and regulations. Let's prioritize responsible and cautious behavior to ensure the well-being of everyone on the road, as this is a shared responsibility that extends to all road users, including drivers, passengers, pedestrians, cyclists, horse riders, and those leading animals."
Now, after the break, according to Economic News, Gulp's Namibia exploration well shows positive hydrocarbon sites. The full details of the story coming right up.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Getting into today's economic news, Gulp began drilling the Mopani 1X probe on November 17 in Petroleum Exploration License 93 as part of a two-well exploration campaign. The first well, Mopani 1X, indicates preliminary signs of hydrocarbon presence. Drilling and data acquisition campaigns are underway, making any conclusion premature before operations are completed and results assessed, the Lisbon-based operator said. The development follows Gulp's signing of a 911 million Namibian dollar contract with SFL Corporation for the semi-submersible rig Hercules. Gulp operates PEL 83 with an 80% interest, while Namibia's National Petroleum Corporation holds 10% and Custis Energy, half owned by Santana, has a 10% stake. PEL 83 is situated north of PEL 39, home to Shell's basin opening discoveries at Graf 1, Larona 1 and Yonka 1. It is also positioned north and west of PEL 56, where Total Energies announced its giant oil discovery at Venus 1. Both Shell and Total continue to progress exploration and appraisal activities on their respective blocks. Businessman Knowledge Kati has an interest through his company Custis Energy, a Namibian independent oil and gas exploration company focused on attracting investment and expertise to the Namibian offshore industry.
Moving on, let's get into our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.65, against the euro at 20.43, against the US dollar at 18.72. 2 Namibian dollars and 61 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, platinum went down while gold, copper and Brent crude oil went up. Brent crude oil trading at 0.46%, going for $77.95 per barrel.
In international news, Guatemalan ex-president Perez enters house arrest after 8 years in prison, and we also take a look at the devastating New Year's Day earthquake that hit Japan. Stay tuned.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Now getting into our international news, former Guatemalan President Otto Perez entered house arrest after being imprisoned since 2015 on a corruption conviction, his lawyer said yesterday. Perez, a retired general, governed the Central American nation from 2012 until 2015, when he was forced to resign with just 4 months left in his term amid protests over graft scandals. The ex-president left prison on Wednesday evening. His lawyer, Cesar Calderon, told Reuters to leave prison and enter house arrest, Perez had to pay a $38,000 bond US and put up 2 properties worth $1.2 million US as collateral, Calderon said. In late 2022, Perez was sentenced to 16 years in prison on charges of illicit association and customs fraud, alongside his vice president Roxanne Baldetti, who remains imprisoned. Perez was accused of leading a customs fraud network that stole some $3.5 million US in state funds during their administration. The case, known as La Linea, was originally investigated under the now defunct International Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala, backed by the United Nations. Perez was sentenced to another 8 years in prison last year on money laundering and fraud charges in a separate case.
This is not the first case we're seeing of a president, having a fall from grace. I mean, it happened with South Korea's president, the female president, because she was also accused of fraud, and so they had to, basically she got arrested, and
I do like that there's some consequences to this. You know, whereas there are some countries where, corruption is so...
corrupt officials,
yes, and it's so normalized and people get away with it. So I do like that there is some consequences to some of this.
Definitely. Like in the case of the South Korean president, her name escapes me now, but it was actually a worldwide scandal, and the fact that she was impeached, it really gave a lot of hope back to the nationals.
And it gives a stern message.
It gives a stern message, yes, that, you can't just get away with corruption and ruining people's lives just because you are the leader. Because as a leader, you are supposed to lead by example.
Yes, and stealing from, state funds, which, because, we pay taxes, and it's just the average person, the middle income, and that are mostly affected by taxes. And to hear that these people are getting away with stealing your money, your hard-earned money, and nothing happens to them, it's really, really
discouraging, demotivating.
And it takes away your your sense of pride in the country, your etc. So
and your patriotism.
Patriotism. Like, I do like that there's consequences, and I want to see more consequences throughout for corrupt officials in whatever position, whether you're the president, whether you are a police officer, etc.
Yeah, like you're saying, hey, definitely it needs to send out a firm message, because most people think, okay, now that I have this high position, I can get away with a lot of stuff. But then, whereas if they send a message like, even if you are the president of a nation, even if you are just a regular person, there will still be consequences.
There's consequences.
Yes. All right, now in the next of our stories, rescuers in Japan are rushing to find 242 people missing after a devastating New Year's Day earthquake. A critical 72-hour period to find survivors from when the quake struck ended late on Thursday. On Friday, the death toll from the 7.6 magnitude earthquake in the remote Noto Peninsula rose to 92. Japan's self-defense forces doubled the number of troops taking part in rescue and relief to 4,600, Kyodo News Agency reported. Many people are thought to be trapped under their collapsed homes, mostly in the towns of Suzu and Wajima. The wooden structures were not built to withstand powerful earthquakes that frequently plague the country. Tens of thousands of residents are still without power and water, while hundreds remain isolated from help because of landslides and blocked roads. We will not give up, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said after a meeting with disaster response officials on Friday. Mr. Kishida urged rescue and relief workers to leave no stone unturned in reaching the affected communities. The earthquake on Monday evening also triggered a small tsunami that flooded at least 296 acres, which is approximately 120 hectares of land, according to Japan's land ministry. Japan said it would spend 4.74 billion yen, which is $34 million in budget reserves to assist the victims. Photos posted by the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force showed troops loading food, drinking water, and toiletries onto trucks that were lined up on the road. Troops can also be seen clearing mud and debris from landslide-hit roads. In another photo, troops were shown carrying a survivor on a stretcher over a snow-covered trail. When the BBC visited, they saw extensive destruction when they visited Wajima on Wednesday, where some homes and vehicles were crushed under crumbling concrete. Many of the town's old traditional wooden homes had collapsed. The town, with a population of 23,000, now resembles a ghost town, as most heeded early evacuation warnings when tsunamis were forecast.
This is so sad. This is so sad, and especially that it happened on the New Year's. You know, you would want to be celebrating the New Year, and then this is the news that you get.
Exactly, but you know, I am glad that at least, I mean, we have to look at the few positives that are there, that most of the people in the town heeded the evacuation warnings. Because in countries like this, or in towns like this, where they're very prone to earthquakes, they always have evacuation drills to let the residents know what to do in case of an emergency. It's just unfortunate that some didn't heed the evacuation warnings, and now as a result, they are trapped under...
Yes, under rubble, and you know, hopefully rescue efforts can save as many as possible.
But I mean, it's great that the Japanese industry and the Japanese industry, that the Japanese government is taking the efforts, and they are really showing that they care about their people. Because the fact that they're willing to spend all this money to make sure that, you know, they manage to get to people if they are survivors on time, and rescue efforts are extremely
you said around
important.
about 34 billion, I mean not million.
Yes, 34 million US
dollars to get the people trapped under the rubble. That's, I mean, you know, very, very commendable on the government. And it also shows, like we're saying earlier, like my tax money is being used effectively.
Exactly.
You know, so kudos to them. Hopefully people, you know, are found and they are well. Hopefully.
Definitely. Well, after the break, Glendora Shapura takes us into the weather predictions.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's take a look at our weather predictions for tomorrow. Katima Mulilo can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 20 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius. Oshakati can expect some showers with a minimum of 22 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius. Henry's Bay can also expect some showers with a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius. Rehoboth can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 20 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius.
After the break, we take a look at the news headlining the world of sport.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
In sports news this evening, the winners of the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations will receive a record $7 million, a Confederation of African Football statement revealed yesterday. It is 40% more than what Senegal pocketed for winning the last edition in Cameroon 2 years ago. The runners-up in the Ivory Coast, who host the Premier African Football Tournament from January 13 to February 11th, will receive $4 million. Losing semi-finalists get $2.5 million each, and quarter-finalists $1.3 million each, according to the statement, which gave no other prize money details. Hosts Ivory Coast and 23 other countries, including record 7-time champions Egypt, will be challenging for glory in the West African nation.
In our next story, Steve Borthwick is confident that England will head into the Six Nations with the right foundation after their run to the World Cup semi-finals. In his statement, first Six Nations as head coach last year, England suffered 3 defeats from 5 matches, including a record 53-10 home loss to France at Twickenham for the 3rd straight edition.
Wrapping up our sports stories, Phil Mickelson has welcomed Rory McIlroy's new softened stance towards LIV Golf and says it is time to let go of hostilities between the rival camps. Mickelson was one of the first players to switch from the PGA Tour to the Saudi-backed LIV in 2022 and has been one of the most prominent backers of the new series.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast.
We thank you very much for watching Sunset News. For me, Diana Master and Glenmora Shipura, this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.